As if it's Friday already? Weren't we just here like a week ago? Wild. Guys, welcome back to the after show. My name is Jeff. That is Megan, also known as That Valkyrie Girl. And we are here to bring you the final episode for this season anyway, of the after show for The Legend of Vox Machina Season 3, episodes 10, 11, and 12. These are the final 3 episodes. Before we get to that, something else dropped today, some rather big news.
We're getting a season 4.
We are, in fact, getting a season 4. It was confirmed today. Amazon Prime has renewed The Legend of Vox Machina for season 4. So you can expect to see us back this time next year, hopefully, whenever it's going to come out. We'll get to all that. We got to start with episode 10, which was called To the Ends of the World. And we start off with a very pissed off Kiki.
The most pissed off that we've ever seen her. She was not having any of it.
And she wasn't necessarily pissed off that, in case you forgot, Raishan has abducted or absconded with the body of a very dead Thordak. Having played them all along, they essentially killed Thordak. Vox Machina killed Thordak for Raishan, and she left with his body, and they don't have a clue what they're talking, what she's going to do with it. Kiki's mad at that they got played, but she's way more pissed that nobody was listening to her for the entire season while she kept telling everybody, we can't trust her. She's an awful person / dragon.
Yeah, which, I mean, I get it, but also I'm like, I don't know what they could have done differently other than, like, staying to guard his body from her, because they had to kill Thordak. It was going to happen.
Right, I think just leading up to that point, everything that they did, a lot of what they did at Raishan's advice, and a lot of people got killed. A lot of people died, and probably needlessly so, based on what Raishan did and what her plan was the whole time, which we do get to find out in the final episode, by the way, what Raishan's doing. But Keyleth's basically like, you guys never listened to me. I was right the whole time. And she hands them a great big old scoop of I told you so, and then leaves. She's like, fuck this, I'm going.
Yep. She goes off to go and see her dad because she needs to figure out what's actually going on, and she needs her people to do that.
She gets some dad advice, but you can tell dad's kind of hesitating. He gives her some advice, but because Kiki's whole thing is, well, how am I supposed to lead the Ashari if I can't even get 6 numbskulls to do what I'm telling them to do? These are my friends, and they're not following me. And this whole conclave of Ashari is supposed to follow me. It's never going to happen unless I figure this out. And then Dad's like, well, there is a way, but it's very dangerous, and I don't want you to do it. And Kiki's like, I'm assembling a council. We're going to figure this shit out. And she goes before the council. Council says,
never mind. No, we're not going to do what you want.
So apparently there's a spell, some kind of spell that could be cast that would allow Kiki to find out where Raishan is. Now, there seems to be a lot of different ways for this to happen. Like we found out earlier in the season that Myth Carver, the sword that Scalan has, can also do this. That Pike can somehow manipulate the sword.
Nope, that would be too easy. We're not going to do that. Or we could go to Pike, and Pike could show them where she is.
Something. But again,
we're going to ignore those were 2 options now.
The first 2 seasons had a heavy focus on Keyleth, and so far this season, it's kind of... The show's done what she's essentially blaming her friends for. It's really put her in the back seat. Like, she hasn't been a really key focus other than the whole will she, won't she with Vax, but there hasn't really been a key focus on Keyleth. Well, there's definitely a key focus on Keyleth for these entire 3 episodes. At first, she's told no, but then she's like, no, I'm not taking no for an answer.
Like, I don't accept the answer no.
That's correct. You said no, tiny little human, little gnome, whatever you are. I guess gnome, probably gnome. That's one of the council there of the Ashari. But she's like, unless everybody else in the council says no, then it's not no. And the rest of the council goes, yes. And she's going to get a chance to do the spell. In fact, the Earth?
The Earth Ashari.
The Earth Ashari are the ones that are going to show her how to do the spell. They can't do the spell for her. They're going to have to teach her how to do the spell. And they go into a place that has a bunch of people that try to do the spell and fail miserably.
Yep,
and it's not 1 or 2 of them.
Terrified statues.
They all look like they got one glimpse at Medusa and got frozen where they stood in stone, because that's what they all look like. Just to give you an indication, it is earth magic they're going to be doing, which, by the way, she's not even a fire Ashari, even though she can take on this fire form. She's actually an air Ashari, but can also commune with trees and everything else. So Kiki is very much like a druid. She has all her powers are nature based, but she is given a chance to try to figure out how to do this spell so that she can find. And she goes into some webway type of thing. Sorry, initially she can't do the spell. She tries and she fails miserably, and things go awry. And then again, kind of like when she asked to do the spell of the council, she's like, no, I'm going to do the spell. I'm going to figure this out. And with Dad watching, she gets into the spell and she gets into some really weird mycelial root network Spider-Verse thing that is basically like her entire life and all the people that are on Exandria sort of connected through this web work. And she's got to find one individual soul. She's got to find Raishan in this huge map and this huge group of things. And she's not doing well.
Nope, she sure isn't.
While all this is going on, while Kiki's going through this, trying to get this spell cast so she can find Raishan, Vax and Vex decide that they're going to go after the guns in an effort to avenge Percy, hopefully be able to find Ripley, trace the guns back to Ripley, and take their vengeance on Ripley. So the group, I wouldn't say the group breaks up, but they all kind of go off and start doing their side quest time. So we're going to have a couple of episodes of side quests. Scalan and Grog and Pike just stay back at the base because Scalan is still comatose, not waking up, fully healed, which, by the way, apparently Pike can still heal even though she's not with the Everlight anymore. So I don't know how that works. I don't know if I'm going to try to explain that or not. She doesn't have the medallion anymore, but she's still able to heal. That? I don't know. That's a weird thing. Again, so. Yeah, we're going to see that coming up soon. But Vex and Vax are like, we're going to go try to find Ripley. We're going to go try to trace the guns. And they fly off to some kind of a pirate town.
Yep, just foggy, creepy, low-life pirate town.
A more wretched hive of scum and villainy you will never see.
Except actually this time, it's not just a jazz bar.
That's correct. It is a pretty scuzzy place. They ran into a bunch of pirates, and they ran into a cat dude. Cat dude is a cat. Cat dude is just a big cat. Yep.
Big cat.
And he's part of the Clasp, I think is what they were calling it, which I think is kind of like the Thieves Guild, I want to say.
Yeah, the one that, like, the little thing that
with the tattoo and such. Cat dude basically tells them, they come in on a ship. The ship comes whenever the ship comes. Nobody tells us. We don't get any forewarning. It comes at night. This is a good spot you can see it from. Here, I'm dropping you off here. Yeah. You can do that. And then Vax is like, cool, here's the gold. And he's like, I don't want your gold. By the way, this isn't over. You owe, or whatever. And Cat dude ominously walks away. I don't know if we're going to see any more Cat dude, but yeah. So this is the other side of the narrative where we get Vex and Vax. At this point, Vax is like, I'm just going to go off and like see what's being talked about, see what people are talking about. Hey, Vex, you're hell-bent on vengeance based on this one woman who killed the love of your life? You just stay here and do nothing while I go off and do all the legwork.
Yeah, I'm just going to leave you right here, and there's no way that anything is going to go wrong.
I cannot possibly see.
As soon as she left, I'm like, she's not waiting. There's no way she's waiting.
No. And to be fair, when they brought it back to her, she's literally like tapping her for like she has restless leg syndrome while waiting for him to like, because he's just kind of like disappeared. Well, she sees the ship show up, and she's like, well, I mean, I'm going to have to go investigate. I'm not just going to sit here. She couldn't find him. She doesn't know where he is. He does not appear. She tries to stealthily sneak around to get aboard and look at the ship. She's not terribly good at it. I feel like under normal circumstances, she'd be better at it, but she's a little distracted. She's out seeking vengeance for the death of the love of her life that she has some regrets over. So she knocks the guy unconscious, but doesn't prop him up very good. And some barrels tip over, and she gets into a fight, and she seems to be doing okay. And then she's essentially cornered and captured, and she's tied to an anchor, and things are looking pretty grim. Vax finally makes an appearance. Dressed as
to be a pirate.
A dandy pirate of some kind, a weird like aristocrat pirate. I don't know, but he had taken some guy's pipe, and then the other pirates recognized the pipe, and the gig was up, and Vex and Vax basically just kill a town. Essentially, they just decide to kill a town, and a town is then killed, and then they lose the boat. And initially, we're like,
it was very weird showing her be like, oh no, I need to choose between following the boat and saving my brother. I'm like, you both can fly. It's not that far away. Just fix it and then go.
That's what they do. Yes. No, they decide she saves Vax and in so doing, make sure he's okay, and then the two of them fly after the boat. And that's essentially how the episode ends. We do see that it's Ripley that's on the boat. So they have found the right boat. They know they've got the right person. Now vengeance can ensue. And we do learn at the tail end of that episode, at the beginning of the next episode, Ripley has the gun and Percy's soul is in it. So I had mentioned this to Megan after we'd done our episode, after she had edited in the clips, and it showed as Percy died, the gun that was sitting beside him glowed. So his soul went to Orthax. Orthax is tied into the gun. Now we have confirmation. Vax hears Percy, not Vex, Vaxildan hears Percy in the gun.
All I'm hearing is I was right last episode and you missed something until you actually saw my edit. So
it was kind of both. Like I said he was in the gun and you said it was in Orthax, but Orthax is in the gun. So getting ahead of ourselves, not going to go there. It's fine. What happens, of course, here is that there's a huge, giant battle and fight on the boat. It looks like Vex and Vax are captured, but they take Vax's knives away, not knowing that he can just call those knives to his hand whenever he wants.
Yeah,
he does that, stabs a dude a bunch of times, and then uses that dude as a human shield as they're all trying to shoot him on this boat. And then we find out how bad a shot everybody on Exandria is, because the entire rest of the time that Vax and Vex are on this boat, yes, they both get shot, but they're shot at 8 million fucking times. And do you know who the worst shot of everybody is? Ripley. Ripley can't hit shit. She does finally tag Vax towards the end of the episode. He does get shot, which, by the way, he seems to have suffered no ill will from. Maybe the vestments helped him deal with that bullet wound, but by the end of the episode,
we'll accept that. I'll take that.
I guess. But yes, huge battle ensues back and forth. We hear more instances that Percy is clearly in the gun in some way, shape, or form. Vax is only hearing Percy when he has the gun, or when he's held the gun, or when he's picked up the gun. But he ends up getting into a pitched battle with Ripley. He's losing said pitched battle. And then what does Ripley get shot with in particular?
With the arrowhead that she's been holding the entire time.
With the arrowhead that Percy made for her specifically, shoots her right in the chest, pins her back to the boat that is sinking because it's on fire, as you mentioned. And then, in something that Percy probably should have done earlier.
Super should have done. Arrow just through the mouth into her head. It was great.
Yes. Ripley, I mean, if anything's really dead on this show, which we're going to get to, but Ripley appears to be dead. If she wasn't dead from the arrows, she's dead from drowning on the sinking boat. And Ripley is no more. Although I did enjoy, did you catch the Titanic joke?
Oh God, yeah. It's like, oh, I'm so glad that the two of us can fit on the store.
So great. So great. Loved it. Absolutely. While all this is going on, Keyleth is still struggling with the spell initially.
Listen, I know they go the route that they do because they want to show how important her relationship is with Vax. I'm like, her father is right there.
Yes.
Is he not count as a human that hasn't betrayed her, that she trusts and loves?
Apparently not enough. So, because he's right there. There's no drama if he's right there. There's got to be somebody else that's not right there. What happens is she has to find some kind of an anchor being, not to be confused with Deadpool and Wolverine.
Need an anchor being.
Needs an anchor being to be able to resist, I guess, from turning into a stone statue like everybody else in this place, because apparently the spell is so super hard, only very few Ashari can actually pull it off. She finds her anchor being. When it looks like all is lost, when she actually does turn to stone, she finds her anchor being. Who's her anchor being?
It's Vax.
Of course, it's Vax. In this case, I mean, it feels like it's been so long getting to this point where she admits that she's in love with him. She tells this vision of him that she's in love with him, which, by the way, she does mirror again at the end of the episode. She tells him to his face that she's in love with him, and then Vax finds out that words are hard. In that particular
words are hard. Words are super hard.
But in this particular moment, it does.
Her speech is better.
Yeah. In this case, it allows her to. It looks like she turns completely to stone, and then the stone Keyleth actually crumbles. And it looks like all is lost. Now, of course, we know all is not lost, but her father's having a freak out, and the Earth Ashari is like, well, sometimes shit happens. And then the ground cracks, and being a fire elemental is not enough for Keyleth. She can now become an Earth elemental as well.
Yes, she can.
I'm not like a Avatar: The Last Airbender kind of guy, but it looks like she's going to be able to master all the elements at some point. She's got 2 down. She's only got 2 to go, and she is already an air Ashari. So by the time she does air and water, I feel like she's like the ultimate Keyleth, by the way. She does, in fact, get the power, and she sees where Raishan is hiding out, and she's going to be able to tell the rest of the group, hey, the conniving bitch is over there. We can go get her now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, which she conveys by becoming a face made out of trees and or sand, depending on where.
Terrible. Yeah, don't love that. Yeah, really didn't like that at all.
I liked Vex's reaction of him just being like, "What is that?"
Yeah, Keyleth tree face. Keyleth tree face, not great. Keyleth sand face somehow worse, which I didn't think it could be worse than Keyleth tree face, but both really bad. Don't like that at all. Not cool.
Yep.
While all this is going on, Scalan is still unconscious. Pike decides, hey, for whatever reason, when Scalan went looking for his daughter, he couldn't find her. But Pike's like, I know where she is, no problem at all, and gets Allura to teleport them. Allura even says, I'm just her ride. To teleport them to where Kaylee is, Scalan's daughter, convinces Kaylee to come back to try to help Scalan. And Kaylee's like, well, what do I do? And Pike's like, well, just talk to him. And so she talks to him, and cue Huey Lewis in the news. It's the power of love. She says that she loves him, and he wakes up, and everybody's happy. And it looks like he's pretty much healed of his wounds as well. I think Pike actually says that. Like, he's healed. He just won't.
He's physically healed. He was just still in a coma, stuck inside his own mind.
So, in this case, so that sort of loose end is tied up. Scalan's back. Kaylee's with him. Initially, he's like, but now Keyleth is like, gathering the troops, like, okay, I know where Raishan is. I'm not doing this by myself. We got to get the band back together again. Everybody come to this one spot. Scalan initially at first is like, no, I've just finally reconnected with my daughter, which I've been trying to do for like the last year or whatever. I'm going to stay with her. And his daughter's like, the fuck you are? And
it's like your only redeeming quality is that you're with these people. Go and do that.
Yes, you rely on them and they rely on you, and don't stay here with me. We'll have plenty of time. You go off and save the world, is what she said. So now that they've all had their side quests, everybody's got their side quests done in the first 2 episodes. They're all back together again now, and we find out what Raishan was doing.
I was gonna say, so Raishan is in like this cave thing that they seem to. It's some sort of like place of power. They seem to like know what it is when they saw it. So the dragon Thordak's body is like spread out with his wings hanging above this like glowing purple crevice, and Raishan's just standing in front of him chanting and doing green sigils. And they start fighting her. And she seems super chill with that, which isn't a good sign.
No, in fact, Keyleth essentially kills her. With ice and with vines, like using various different powers of the Ashari on her, because she essentially, Raishan deals with the rest of Vox Machina pretty handily. But against Keyleth, they get into this pitched battle, and Keyleth kills her and does not fuck around. Like, kills her pretty good, snaps her neck.
Yep.
But by then,
as soon as she's like, the only thing remaining, and then she goes, is to kill you. I'm like, this isn't gonna go well. And it doesn't go well.
Raishan is dead, we get to find out what Raishan's plan with Thordak was all along.
And it was to jump into his body, because his body didn't have the creeping disease that she has been cursed with from the Ashari. We now know that that was where her...
The Ashari is the ones that cursed Raishan. Yep. Jumps into... So it becomes what is essentially an undead dragon, which which you can see in Dungeons & Dragons as well. Has its own special powers and everything else. In fact... when she becomes the undead dragon, it even changes her breath weapon. It still looks like fire, but it's not fire, as Pike finds out when she tries to use the vestments.
Blue fire? Kind of?
It's not quite the same type of fire. And then, of course, a pitched battle ensues. A wall comes up, so it's really mostly Keyleth against the dragon for like 99% of the fight. Grog eventually brings the shield wall down, but by then, most of the fight has already taken place, and it's mostly been... the Raishan Thordak. By the way, they kind of meld their voices together. You can hear some of Thordak's voice and some of Raishan's voice happening at the same time.
That's very cool.
Excuse me. And I will reiterate something I have said a lot about this show is Vox Machina at 100% is all of them. Vox Machina at 99% power is Keyleth. Like, she's so OP, and now she's even more OP. Because
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, she's like single-handedly taking on this dragon, which is what she ends up doing.
she solos the dragon, basically. The rest of them are there maybe as mild distractions, but I mean, at the end of the day, she goes, this isn't even my final form after taking on the fire persona, and she becomes her earth elemental self, her new elemental self, and decides to reinfect Thordak with the curse that Raishan's body still has and is still riddled with right there on the slab. And
I was trying to figure out where they were going with that, because I could see her eyeing the body. I'm like, is she gonna try and like pull her essence out and like
yeah, I didn't know either.
Corpse or something, but nope. Other way around.
Nope, it was pretty cool. Reinfects her with the curse, and on a much grander scale. Like, it did say that the curse was going to kill her eventually. Apparently, eventually was right the fuck now.
Yep, just amped it all the way up.
Even though Thordak was kind of an undead dragon that couldn't feel pain anyways, apparently the curse is still the curse, regardless of if it's an undead dragon or a live dragon.
Yeah,
apparently.
I guess it just it rotted out his body. Like, once there's no more body, the dragon can't be a dragon.
No, I mean, to be fair, half his body was already torn away. Like, you could literally see like exposed musculature.
Oh yeah, no, you could
all that kind of
sure,
stuff.
but...
So I mean, I got the sense that he was already an undead dragon, but apparently diseases will work on undead dragons as well. That's reinfects with the curse, and the last dragon is dead. The Chroma Conclave is now finally dead. What more could there's 10 minutes left of this episode? What more could we possibly do on this particular episode, the finale of season 3?
Well, I mean, we've got a gun and we're missing a character, so like, you gotta fix that.
We do. Absolutely. Vax has been saying it the whole time. Apparently the Vax is the only one that can hear it, but he's been saying the whole time, Percy's in the weapon, along with Orthax, the demon. We have to get these two back together again. We have to get Percy's body. What if we put Percy's soul back into Percy's body? Vax
and their justification is if Raishan could put herself into Thordak's body, we can put Percy back into his own body.
Now, the key here, though, is that Vax and his connection with the matron, because, of course, the matron is the matron of death. And while Percy's soul clearly didn't go to the matron of death, is trapped in this realm of Orthax, it's still going to need the matron's help to be able to marry these two things back together again. And the matron is very, very clear with Vax. If you do this, there will be a price to pay. And Vax is like, I will pay it. I will pay it if it means even a day of my sister's happiness. I will pay it. By the way, every single time Vax calls Vex stubby, I love it every time. I don't know why, but every time he calls her stubby, I'm like, that's fantastic. It makes no sense.
Affectionate sibling nicknames.
Yeah,
they're terrible, but also adorable.
Fantastic. So, to make a long story short, there is this huge pitch battle in the realm, I guess, the soul realm of the demon, between the demon and Vax. Vax does finally get to Percy. Percy's like, I don't know you, man. I'm just gonna keep hammering onto
working on this forge
pepper box gun thing, whatever. And finally, cue Huey Lewis in the news again.
It's the power of love.
It's the power of love, baby. It's the power of love. Vex sees that things aren't going well. Cradle's literally like from the Matrix, like Neo dies in the Matrix and it looks like he's dead and bad shit's happening. And Trinity whispers to his dead now body, don't die, I love you. And he comes back to life. This exact same thing happens here. She's literally cradling his encased dead head saying, I was afraid, I was scared, I'm no longer scared, I love you, my darling, blah, blah, blah. Percy hears this. In fact, the single tear drops into the spirit realm where he's in, cools the gun down, and he's like, oh, right, I got to get out of here. And the connection, the matron, again, would not have been able to free him without the matron. You see the thread come out of Vax and envelop both of them. And then they're able to transfer Percy's soul into his body after, by the way, like you had mentioned, Pike was able to hear it. I really, really, really hope in season 4, they're going to somehow try to explain to us what the fuck is going on with Pike.
Yeah.
What happened with her blood. Yeah, why she can heal even though she's not with the Everlight anymore. Like, I wanted, like, something's going on. So I really, really hope we get some resolution with Pike. The gang is finally back together again. Just long enough for them to all decide to go off and do their own things. So
yep. They're like, we succeeded. All the dragons are dead. Now we're all gonna just do our own thing.
What more could we possibly do? Scalan quits, or does he? He's gonna go off with Kaylee. The group breaks up, or does it? Vexalia is just gonna go live a peaceful life in Whitestone as nobility. Yeah, that's going to happen.
She'll take a vacation for a week.
Keyleth is going to go finish her Aramante, and Vax is going to go with her. All of these sound absolutely wonderful. And then, of course, Grog and Pike are just going to, I don't know, just keep hanging out and getting on their own adventures, I suppose.
Traveling around and keeping their ear to the ground.
Doing their things.
Need to bring the band back together.
So then we get a lovely little ending montage, because we haven't had a montage in this 3 episodes. We get a nice little ending montage with Kaylee's song that we finally get to hear as Scalan is singing it, and we get to see how everybody's all like cuddling and traveling and riding bears and all kinds of... Oh, by the way, Trinket! Hey, we got to see Trinket a couple of times. And where was he? Yeah, but was he in the battles? Did he go on the pirate ship and fight? Did he fight the dragon?
Nope, of course not. He's hanging out in Whitestone being a crutch for Percy.
I don't get it. By the way, guys, so many of you commented on last week's episode. Thank you so much. And some of you had some ideas as to why Trinket doesn't get used. You mentioned, like, I think someone said animating bears is really hard and everything else. There still feels like there's something going on that we're unaware of. That is some kind of a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I don't know what it is, but again, same thing. We saw Trinket 2 or 3 times these episodes, and he still wasn't coming out to do any adventuring.
Yeah, no, the comment that I saw that feels like explains it is someone saying that I guess in the actual game that they've been doing, since Trinket isn't like a character, he's a like side companion, he doesn't level up the same way that the players do, so all of them are like ridiculously overpowered compared to him, so if he was in a fight, he would just be like one-shotted and dead.
Well, yeah, but it's a bear.
But Trinket. It's okay. Trinket's living the high life. He's in. He's nobility. He's a nobility.
He's nobility now. Yes, I see no way that can go badly. And then it looks like everybody's just gone their separate ways, and everything's going to be totally cool. And by the way, if it hadn't come out, because Megan and I have talked about this before on this show, neither one of us are familiar with the campaign. Neither one of us watch Critical Role. We're fans of the show. We love the show, but a lot of you that are commenting already know essentially what's going to happen based on the campaign as it's played out. Already, this has all already happened in their campaign. We don't know. So if it hadn't been announced today that there was going to be a season 4, as they were doing this ending montage where it looked like everybody lives happily ever after, I'd be like, oh, cool. Like that's just it. Like the show's over. Like everybody's just doing their own thing. But we knew there was going to be a 4th season, and then there's like not a post credits, but there's a little like fade to black, and then some chanting going on, and then some people bleeding from the eyes.
Yep, they sure are.
Making some weird chant. There's like an obelisk. There's like a little weird gem in the middle, and then fade to black. So,
yep, they are the blood of his blood, and something flashed there. I could have sworn I saw a face for a moment, but it was like such a quick clip.
Yeah, like, I don't know. It might be something that we have already seen in the previous 2 seasons. I'm not too sure. If you know what it is, don't spoil it. Just let us know in the comments that you know that this is something familiar, that you know that's coming, that they're not just gone off on some weird tangent or whatever. But as we said, we are getting a season 4. I don't know when that's going to be. We're going to hope they're going to be able to turn this around soon, because I really liked. It did start out slow, but it really picked up steam towards the end, and I really liked everything that they did with this particular season. I found it very, very fulfilling and satisfying. How did you feel about it, Megan?
It was very good. Like you were saying earlier, like the beginning of it was kind of slow, but like from the halfway point, like the last 6 episodes, bangers. Great.
Yep.
Good.
Yep. Awesome. Guys, let us know how you felt about season 3 of The Legend of Vox Machina, whether or not you're someone that's already familiar with Critical Role or not. In fact, we'd love to hear from more of you that aren't familiar with Critical Role, like Megan and I, and let us know how you like the show. Is there something that you'd like to see different? What do you want to see happen in the 4th season? And do you want to see Trinket in a fight just like we want to see Trinket in a fight? Because Trinket. Guys, that is going to be it for this week and for this particular after show. Do me a favor, stay tuned, keep looking at the channel. We are coming up with another after show, myself, and this time with my podcast partner, JS. We're going to be talking about the 5th and final season of Star Trek Lower Decks. No, we're not only doing after shows for animated shows, but guys, that's not going to be the case. But if there are other shows that you would like either myself and Megan or anybody from the crew here at the Geeks and Co to have an after show or react to, go ahead and put it in the comments below. We will do our best to fulfill any request we get. Looking forward to the 4th season, guys. We will see you back here then. Otherwise, stay geeky, everyone.